What if the American Revolution almost ended before it truly began? What if the fate of the United States didn't hang on a battlefield, but on a single secret letter? In October 1775, George Washington was commanding an army that looked strong from a distance, but in reality, it was one whisper away from total collapse. No food, no medicine, and almost no gunpowder. If the British had discovered the truth, the rebellion would have been crushed in a single march. But the greatest danger wasn't outside the camp. It was already inside. This is the true story of the most dangerous betrayal in early American history. A hidden cipher, a trusted patriot, and the secret that nearly erased the United States before it was even born. To understand how close the United States came to dying before it ever truly took its first breath, you must first close your eyes and step into the mud and misery of October 1775. Forget the polished marble statues of the Founding Fathers. Forget the glory of the 4th of July. Instead, imagine a cold gray fog rolling off the Charles River, wrapping its damp fingers around the neck of a terrified rebellion. The Continental Army is not an army, it is a mob. Thousands of men, farmers, blacksmiths, shopkeepers are camped in Cambridge, Massachusetts, staring across the water at the fortified city of Boston. Inside the city, the British Army, the finest fighting force on the planet, is polished, fed, and waiting. Outside, the Americans are starving. They are dressed in rags. Dysentery and smallpox drift through the tents like ghosts. But there is a secret far deadlier than disease, a secret that General George Washington guards with a desperation that borders on madness. The Americans have no gunpowder. It is a mathematical impossibility that keeps Washington awake in the Vassal House, pacing the floorboards until dawn. His inventory shows that there are fewer than 9 rounds of ammunition for each soldier. 9 rounds! If the British General Thomas Gage knew this, even if a whisper of this truth crossed the river, the Redcoats would not need to fight a war. They would simply march out, sweep aside the defenseless rebels, and hang every leader of the revolution by sunset. The dream of independence hangs by a thread so thin it is almost invisible. In this atmosphere of paranoia, trust is the only currency that matters. And in the entire camp, there is perhaps no man more trusted, more admired, and more essential than Dr. Benjamin Church. Visualize him walking through the camp. He is a man of striking presence, roughly 41 years old, with the sharp, intelligent eyes of a scholar and the confident stride of a man born to lead. He is not merely a doctor, he is a legend among the Sons of Liberty. He sat in the smoke-filled taverns with Paul Revere. He wrote biting satire mocking the king. He was there, hands bloodied, tending to the patriots who fell at Bunker Hill. Washington has appointed him the first Surgeon General of the Continental Army. He lives in a fine mansion, dines at the general's table, and is privy to the most intimate secrets of the War Council. But Benjamin Church is a man of appetites. He loves fine wine, he loves status, and above all, he loves money. And while he smiles at Washington, his mind is calculating the odds. He looks at the ragtag army and sees a sinking ship. He looks at his mounting debts and his expensive mistress, and he makes a cold, rational decision. The British Empire is too big to fail. Why die for a lost cause when you can profit from its destruction? The betrayal does not begin on a battlefield. It begins in the quiet, nervous fluttering of a woman's heart. We shift our gaze to Newport, Rhode Island. It is a dreary afternoon when a woman appears at the door of a bakery owned by Godfrey Wainwood. History has been hazy on her name, often leaving her in the shadows, but her role is the catalyst for everything that follows. She is Dr. Church's mistress. She is anxious, her eyes darting to the street, clutching her shawl tight against the wind. She is not a spy by trade, but by circumstance. She approaches Wainwood, who she knows has connections. She produces a letter. It is sealed. Her voice trembles as she asks him to arrange for its delivery to some officers on a British warship stationed in the harbor, specifically for a Major Kane in Boston. It is a personal matter, she lies, but the lie is thin. Just business. Wainwood takes the letter. He is a simple man, but the times have made everyone suspicious. Why is a woman connected to the Surgeon General of the American Army sending secret correspondence to the British military? He nods, promising delivery, but as soon as she leaves, he does not go to the harbor. He goes to a friend, a schoolmaster named Maxwell. Together, they break the seal. They expect to see words, they expect to see treason, but what they see stops their hearts. The parchment is covered in madness. There are no words, no sentences. It is a chaotic, dense scrawl of Greek characters, inverted letters, strange alchemical symbols, and arithmetic figures. It looks like the ravings of a lunatic or a sorcerer's incantation. It is a cipher. For weeks, Wainwood sits on this letter. He is terrified. If he accuses a man as powerful as Dr. Church without proof, he could be hanged. But the silence of the letter burns a hole in his conscience. Finally, in late September, unable to bear the weight, he travels to the headquarters of the Army. The scene where the letter reaches Washington is one of suffocating tension. Washington sits at his desk, the weight of the failing revolution on his shoulders. When the letter is placed before him, he studies the gibberish. He is a surveyor by trade, a man of maps and measurements. He knows that chaos often hides order. He orders the woman to be found. She is dragged into headquarters, pulled from her life into the center of a storm. Washington plays the part of the stern father figure. He does not yell, he waits. He lets the silence stretch until it is unbearable. He tells her that he knows everything, even though he knows nothing. He offers her a choice, the truth or the gallows. She holds out for hours, weeping, protecting the man she loves, but the image of the hangman is too strong. Finally, she breaks. "I received it from Dr. Church," she whispers. "He wrote it." The air leaves the room. Washington's aides exchange horrified glances. Church? The man who is currently responsible for the health of every soldier in the army? The man who knows the troop counts, the supply lines, and the catastrophic lack of powder? Washington acts with the cold precision of a predator. He does not confront Church yet. He cannot miss. He needs to know exactly what the symbols mean. He summons two men, the Reverend Samuel West, a man of God with a mind for puzzles, and Colonel Elisha Porter. "Unlock this," Washington commands, pointing to the incomprehensible page. "The fate of the army depends on it." As the sun sets over Cambridge, casting long, bloody shadows across the encampment, the codebreakers huddle over the parchment by candlelight. Outside, Dr. Church eats his dinner, wipes his mouth with a napkin, and jokes with his colleagues, unaware that the noose is already tightening around his neck. The night is long in the makeshift cryptography room. Reverend West stares at the symbols until they blur. The cipher is a monoalphabetic substitution, a simple concept where each symbol represents a letter of the alphabet, but Church has made it devilishly complex by mixing alphabets and adding nulls to throw off the scent.
They work through the hours of the wolf, fueled by stale coffee and the terror of what they might find. They look for frequency patterns. The letter E is the most common in English. The is the most common word. Slowly, agonizingly, a pattern emerges. A Greek delta corresponds to an A. A reversed S is an E. Like a wall crumbling brick by brick, the code gives way. The gibberish transforms into legible text. "I hope this will reach you." As the full translation reveals itself, the blood drains from Reverend West's face. This is not a vague note. This is a forensic dissection of the American Army. In the letter, Dr. Church has laid bare the soul of the revolution. He lists the exact number of infantrymen. He details the locations of the artillery batteries. He describes the low morale, the sickness, and the logistical nightmares. But most damning of all, he confirms the shortage of ammunition. He has essentially drawn a map for General Gage, highlighting exactly where to stick the knife to kill the rebellion instantly. He ends the letter with instructions on how to reply, establishing a permanent channel of espionage. It is morning when Washington reads the translation. His face, usually a mask of stone, betrays a flicker of profound hurt. This is not just treason, it is a personal knife in the back from a friend. Church is summoned. The arrest is swift. When he is brought before the Council of War, the room is thick with the smell of betrayal. His former friends, generals, and patriots refuse to look him in the eye. But Church does not cower. He stands tall, adjusting his cuffs, his face a mask of intellectual arrogance. When the evidence is laid out, Church admits to writing the letter, but then he attempts a defense so audacious it leaves the room stunned. "I wrote it for us," Church declared, his voice booming with theatrical passion. "Do you not see? It is a ruse. I exaggerated our numbers in some places. I intended to confuse the British, to make them fear us, to delay their attack. I am not a traitor, gentlemen. I am a spy for liberty, acting on my own initiative." Washington looks at the translation. He looks at Church. The intelligence in the letter is too accurate to be a bluff. You do not confuse an enemy by telling him exactly how weak you are. Washington's voice is quiet, deadly calm. "Sir, you are a liar." The trial is a spectacle of tragedy. Church continues to proclaim his innocence, citing his years of service, his poetry, his sacrifices. But the cipher does not lie. The Continental Congress is informed. John Adams, who once admired Church, writes in his diary of his shock, comparing Church to Judas Iscariot. However, a strange legal paradox saves Church's life. The Articles of War have not yet fully ratified for this new nation. Technically, there is no United States to commit treason against. The maximum penalty Washington can enforce under the current military code is lashes or dismissal. He cannot hang a man for a crime that doesn't legally exist yet. Washington is furious, but bound by the law he fights to establish. Dr. Church is sentenced to indefinite imprisonment. He is stripped of his titles, his dignity, and his name. He is sent to a jail in Norwich, Connecticut, thrown into a solitary cell with no windows. He is forbidden pen and paper. He is forbidden to speak. The man who loved the sound of his own voice is condemned to absolute silence. For 2 years, he rots. His health fails. He becomes a ghost of the man who once toasted liberty in Boston taverns. Then comes the final cinematic fade-out, an ending so mysterious it feels written by a novelist. In 1778, likely weary of the cost of keeping him, the authorities grant him a form of mercy. He is to be exiled to the West Indies. He is taken from his cell, a broken, pale husk of a man, and put aboard a schooner named the Welcome. Imagine the scene. Dr. Benjamin Church stands at the rail of the ship as it leaves Boston Harbor. He watches the city line of the city he loved, the city he betrayed. He sees the flag of a new nation, a nation he helped conceive and then tried to strangle in the crib, snapping in the wind. He is leaving America, never to return. The ship raises its sails. It moves out past the harbor islands into the gray, churning expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. And then, silence. The Welcome is never seen again. No wreckage is ever found. No message in a bottle. No survivor washing up on the shores of Martinique. The ocean simply opens up and swallows the first American trader whole. Did a sudden squall capsize them? Did the British Navy intercept the ship and sink it? Or did Church survive, slipping away into the anonymity of the Caribbean to live out his days in shame? History offers no answer. As we pull back from the gray waters of the Atlantic and return to the present day, the story of the Boston Cipher leaves us with a chilling realization. We are taught that the American Revolution was a destiny, a forge of inevitability. But this story proves that the birth of the United States was agonizingly fragile. Had that mistress walked past the baker without stopping? Had Godfrey Wainwood been less suspicious a man? Had Washington been less vigilant? Or had those candlelit code breakers failed to crack the cipher? The war would have ended in October 1775. The British would have known the truth about the gunpowder. They would have struck. The Declaration of Independence would never have been written. George Washington would have been a footnote in British history books, executed as a failed rebel. The Boston Cipher stands as a testament to the fact that history turns not on the movement of massive armies, but often on the smallest of things: a look of guilt in a woman's eyes, a scrap of paper hidden in a bodice, and the breaking of a code in the dead of night. It reminds us that freedom is not a guarantee. It is a gift, often saved from the fire by the silence of secrets kept and the revelation of secrets found. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay with us for more hidden history, real mysteries, and untold stories. Let us know in the comments what kind of story you'd like to see next. Your ideas shape future videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.